Josh swallows, Josh swallows, Josh swallows, Broadway. Josh swallows, Josh swallows, Josh swallows, Josh swallows Broadway.
Hi everyone, how's it going? Happy 9 o'clock on motherfucking Wednesday. It's motherfucking Wednesday at 9 o'clock on Eastern. Oh my God, you have
9
a
o'clock
man
on
bun.
Eastern?
Yeah, shut up. You have a man bun. That's a worse crime.
You haven't seen my quarantine bangs.
No, there's a ensemble track in Wicked whose wig has a palm tree like that. So anyway, I'm just gonna pretend like you're cosplaying at Broadway Con. I still love you though. Are you well? I miss you.
I am so well, except for the fact that my bangs, I'm bringing back 90s bangs and not in a good way. And I have nothing to do with this mop up here.
Listen, I went through one single year of being a born-again Christian in high school, and I love you, I forgive you, I'm praying for you. Hello, motherfuckers! Thank you for tuning in. This is like probably one of the scariest nights of my life. A Strange Loop is possibly the best theatrical experience I've ever had. It's also one of the few shows that I listen to like thrice a week.
I remember you posting about it a long time ago.
Yeah, because I was like, does everybody know about this? You have to listen to it now. I don't even care if you like show tunes. This is not like this is an experience. This is a piece. Like, this isn't just, your favorite movie live on, it isn't Cocoon the musical, which I would love to be in, by the way. I'd be great as the Walter Brimley guy. My audition could be like, I'm Walter Brimley and I have diabetes and this is why I have a cocoon. Anyway, I'm getting carried away. But I just want to say what's up to the Patreon folk. We had the most kick-ass Zoom party yesterday. It was so much fun. And Alan, I don't really get a lot of fan mail, which is fine because I'm not like famous or anything. But in fan art, I sometimes get. But check out this Emoji Land fan art, fan mail. It is a Prince mask.
What?
And being that the Prince YouTube channel is actually going to let us watch a Prince concert, I think starting tomorrow for a few days. So fucking get into it. I'm going to be rocking this inside. Nisa, I think that's how you say it, or Nisa. It's things are complicated right now, and my brain can only handle so much. But thank you for this. It's the best thing in the world. And yeah, you know what? But before I waste too much time, listen, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. It means the world to me. We are going to be taking a little hiatus until after Memorial Day. After this, but this show is going to be so fucking epic, you're going to feel fulfilled. And you could also just go back to www.bpn.fm/JSB to listen to all the other old episodes. And good news, we're going to start making new episodes for Josh Swallows Broadway Season 2. Thank you again to our Patreons for helping make that possible. You can check us you can check us out.
It's not live. Do it again.
Oh, shut up. Yeah, seriously, you're fired. No, I'm just kidding. I love you. You're my brother. You can check us out at patreon.com/Josh Swallows Broadway. But in the meantime, I give you Raja Feather Kelly, Stephen Brackett, and Michael R. Jackson. Hi, friends.
Hi.
I literally paused as if there was like audience applause. Like that's where I'm at in quarantine, like the old woman in Requiem for a Dream that just wanted to fit in the red dress. That's where I'm at. Thank you all so fucking much for coming on to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
I'm obsessed with all of you. Many, for very different reasons. Like Stephen, you gave us Buyer and Seller, first of all, which was another one of those theater experiences where I was like, how do you know like my soul? How do you know what I find funny? How do you know why I moved to New York and what kind of theater excites me? And Raja, you and I have a beautiful obsession with Andy Warhol, and your dance company is so exciting and so incredible. And just because, like, I found out that you do telethons in your home for your dance, like, that's fucking incredible. So, and then Michael, you've been writing for a long time. You have some incredible albums. I was listening to Dirty Laundry today and fell in love. And then you gave us A Strange Loop, and somehow the universe, like the miracle of fucking Hanukkah, brought you three together. No, I'm going to add an extra candle to the menorah
Light the
this year.
candle, say the blessing, tell the age-old story. Maccabeans went to battle, now we sing their glory. I had to sing that as a child in children's theater.
Really?
I did.
My mother's going to text me and be like, is he a nice Jewish boy? This is wonderful for you. And she doesn't talk like that. It's just the only way to explain her.
Just tell her I said, hello, gorgeous. It's like the Princess of Tides. It's neither the Princess nor Tides. Discuss. That's from the '94 concert album.
Well, when did you start writing A Strange Loop?
Well, technically, it started as a monologue that I began writing in 2001. It was called something else different then, but it was like the sort of seed of the piece. It sort of became A Strange Loop, as you know it, when Stephen and I did a reading of it in 2012.
Wow. Okay. Because one of my favorite ways that you've described it is that it's about a musical theater writer that's an usher that's writing a show about his life. That's like about a musical theater writer who's writing a show about his life. That's about
Yep.
How much of this is based on your story?
Well, like I sort of try to just describe the piece as self-referential as opposed to autobiographical, which is to say that like I did draw from my own experience, but it's more emotionally autobiographical than factual. There are things that like in the show that like I had experienced. Like I did work as an usher at a Broadway show. I did have parents that I had like crazy up and down things with. I did go to Inwood to have sex with a terrible white man. But like I also fictionalized a lot of the events inside of that.
Yeah.
But like I felt every emotion that's in that piece, I have felt.
Yeah, well, you could tell that it was something that all of you in one way or another in your own ways and own journeys have felt. It was one of those shows that just, at first when the show started, I remember being that guy that was like, oh yeah, I'm fat too, I get this. And then being like, oh no, bitch. Oh no, you don't get this. You just shut up and watch. And, and that was like the first 3 minutes. I was like, oh no, you don't know anything. And, I have a deep appreciation for telling, I feel like the world can be very terrible and very hard and very cruel. And for me, humor has always been that antidote. And I've always felt like you have to make fun of some of the most horrible things just to sometimes get a point across.
There's nothing funnier than unhappiness.
Yeah, sometimes.
Chekhov.
But oh, really? Is that Chekhov?
Mm-hmm.
I dropped out of school, so
it's either Chekhov or Beckett, but I think it's Chekhov.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you're not
maybe
totally
it's a third
sure.
option, or it might be a third option, but I think it's one of the two of them.
Yeah, it's probably Meryl Streep.
Wait,
Yeah.
is it Chekhov? Or is it someone
Who
else? Okay.
Michael Musto,
It's
maybe. Who knows?
Meryl Streep said it.
And Raja, something that I love about your work is how much you put queerness into it. Oh wait, are you frozen or are you posing? I can't tell. Oh wait, there you are. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay, good. Something like I love how much you put queer culture into your work as a dancer. How long is that? Was that always how you felt as an artist when you created dancing?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I certainly feel that once I started creating dance and theater and media, that it was certainly an outlet for me to express my queerness because it was outside of me. So in some ways, I think when I was younger, it was like, this has nothing to do with me. This is my work. And then as I got older, it was how I identified. Me and my work are the same.
So how did the three of you meet?
So I met Stephen through a recommendation from a director friend who Stephen had worked with, because she had directed, her name is Emma Griffin, and she had directed some concerts and another musical that I had written. And then I had another concert coming up and she wasn't available. And so she recommended Stephen, and then Stephen directed that concert and then another one. And I think one or both of those concerts had some material in it that would later be, that was kind of in a Strange Loop as it was developing. And so then when it came time to do the reading in 2012 of The Strange Loop, just the book of it, I think. No, we did some of the music. And then I called Stephen back, and then he sort of, that's how I got back hooked up with him again. And then we met Raja through, like when we knew that the show was moving toward Playwrights Horizons, we were asking various people for recommendations, and Raja's name just like kept coming up. And so we just set a meeting.
And we invited Raja to one of our
that's right.
meetings, right? And so like literally everybody that we admired was like, it's Raja. You guys are looking for Raja. That's the person who should be.
Yeah, I was like I was in a car in the middle of the Berkshires with Lila Neugebauer, and she was like, "You must work with Raja Kelly."
I love that.
Well,
I remember coming to see the Joe's Pub show. My friend Cheo was like, "You have to see this." And then I remember like wanting to introduce myself to both of you then, and both of you were like, "Oh, we know you."
Wait, so was that that was before the? Oh, I guess I hadn't met you. I guess I hadn't met you by then.
Yeah, that was before. That was before that reading that you had invited me to. But it was Joe's Pub. You weren't doing a Strange Loop at Joe's Pub. You were
doing my Girl in Danger.
And my friend Cheo was like, "Go and see it." And then I saw it, and I introduced myself to you both.
And I remember when Raja came to the reading, I thought he was like one of the Illuminati or something, because they were like, Raja has to leave at like this exact time, and a car will be waiting for him on the street. And I was like, oh my God, like.
Illuminati.
How important this person is that like must leave at the strike of midnight, to get in his car to wherever it was he was going.
And then you realize he ain't nothing but a Negro.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, nothing better than
it was a very important other situation I had to get to.
I have no doubt, but I just remember being like, wow, I really want to work with him now, because he's got cars picking him up.
But then we had like a meeting at like Treehouse underneath
Treehouse.
Oh, Treehouse.
God bless.
Wait, will there be Treehouse on the other side of this?
No, Treehouse closed before this.
Oh, it closed?
Yeah, before this.
Oh, I didn't, like right before?
Right before this, I was hosting my university's showcase, which is ironic because I dropped out. And in the script, there was a section about me talking about moving here after I graduated. And I was like, bitch, did you do your research? I'm not an alumni. Just pay me. But no, I walked down there for lunch and it was closed.
Damn.
Yeah. And but speaking of after all this, and this does tie into a strange loop, so please bear with me. I think all of us are very intuitive, and we knew that yesterday was coming, and we knew that it was coming far before it came. But it's one thing to know that the community was shutting down, and in at least until September 6th. But it's another thing to see it in the New York Times and, the Hollywood Reporter. And it really hit me very hard yesterday. And there's this really incredible fellow named Joshua Harris who is on the show's Patreon. And I had a Zoom thing with him. And it turns out that he runs a community theater in Sherman, Texas called Sherman Community Players. And on our Zoom thing, he was there with his fiance at his theater, and he was, pretty much crying, saying, Broadway shutting down made him feel like his dreams shut down, like everything that he loved in life shut down. And then I started crying because he was there in a theater, and that's where our dreams began. And it actually gave me hope. And then I started looking into the Woolly Mammoth, where your show is going next, after all this bullshit, whenever that is. And I started crying again, because like my friends at home, it's not just Broadway, everywhere, all these incredible regional theaters. One of my favorites, the Arden in Philadelphia, like where, I'm no fucking Meryl, but Meryl's not Meryl. Meryl doesn't exist. Like Meryl's not even Meryl. She's unattainable. But, that's where I started. But the Woolly Mammoth, and I read this, they're doing this thing right now called #PlayAtHome. And the synopsis is, in partnership with Baltimore Center Stage, Long Wharf Theater, the Public Theater, and the Repertory Theater of St. Louis, we have commissioned dozens of short plays to ignite imagination and joy during this time of isolation. All plays are original, mostly family-friendly, and ready to be downloaded and enjoyed by you. So go ahead and play at home. I ain't being paid to say that, but like it also like brought me to what a strange loop.
Yeah, and I wrote one of those plays.
Did you really?
I did. They commissioned me to write one of those plays.
What is it called?
It's called Trees on Broadway. It's about a tree that wants to be on. It's about a tree that wants to be on Broadway.
Okay. My story is more about a shrub that wanted to be on Broadway.
Yeah.
That's a little nasally shrub. It's
the tree's name is Oak, but it's auditioning for the part of Treely O'Hara. It's so dumb. It's like the dumbest thing I've ever written in my life. But someone did it. They emailed me.
Wow.
They like recorded it for like their group or their community theater, or I don't know what it is. They said, I haven't watched the recording yet, but I thought like, oh, how nice that like someone like did my stupid little 8-minute play.
Wow.
I like that.
And so like this thing, like something came of it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I was very moved by that.
I think nothing we do is stupid. You'll see things and like, I'll admit, I'll see things and I'll be like, yeah, that was not my thing. But this and that was spectacular. Or so-and-so, like, I will never forget that performance. Or the staging of that was brilliant,
I can't wait to watch it. Like, because it was something I wrote very quickly for a very specific purpose, not for like, my own artistic edification. And yet it like gave some group of people somewhere some comfort or entertainment or, you know what I mean? Something to do. And I think and I just think it's easy to forget that like theater can be just that basic, just like plain dress up or whatever at home with your family and not like. So I have to say, like, that shaped a lot of how I have been thinking about the shutdown, because like while, you know, it is like hard to think about like our big commercial Broadway being shut down or whatever. It's also like there's probably going to be certain states where small theaters can do limited things, you know, like we're all going to be relearning how to do theater again.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's something sort of really powerful and instructive about that.
I also have a new like respect for what we do, like, and I'm almost ashamed to say how much I took it for granted until now, you know, when you really go, oh no, wait, what we do is important. Like, an example for me being a bigger person, I know what it's like having bigger people come up to me and be like, it means a lot to see myself on stage. However, A Strange Loop took it to a new level of representation that had not been seen before. And that needs to be seen again and a fucking again and a fucking again. What was it like for you three to have people finally feeling like they're being seen?
For me, it was like really validating, affirming, and you know, it felt like sort of my mission statement had been accomplished, you know, because part of the reason why I wrote the show in the first place was just because I always felt like when I would either see no representation of anything I sort of understood as a Black person or a gay person, or like, or then that would turn into, I'd see some representation of the gay aspect of me and it would be white, or some expression of the Black part of me and it would be straight, or then it would become a Black and gay expression, but it never matched, you know, like I'm not like an Instagram thirst trap anymore. I used to be, but I'm not anymore. And so, like, I felt like a lot of the
I've been having a going out of business sale for years.
Right.
So.
I never saw like what is it like to be like a fat Black gay man, like living in like white gay Horrorville, you know? Like, yeah. And so I wanted to express all of the feeling, what that feels like, to try to capture that. And so when I saw people, or even to this day when people email me and they're like, thank you for those images, it feels good, because I feel like I reach people who are not used to being reached.
Yeah, your line, forgive me if I bastardize it, but it's a white male indifference crossed with fetishization. Mm-hmm. Is that it?
That's a word on today.
I mean, that struck me. That, you know, that really like affected me deeply. And when I watched the show, and plus Antoine, all those people in the show, Elle Morgan and I went to college together.
Oh, you arts.
Yeah, we were in the worst production of Weird Romance, but she was fabulous. But anyway, I want to keep the round circle going because you're also brilliant. Stephen, what was it like for you?
It was really rewarding to finally see that show on stage. I mean, Michael has had a huge, long history of writing this piece. And then, you know, myself and a bunch of other collaborators came on, and there were 7 years of development that went into that show. And for a long time, Michael and I, privately and sometimes together, shared our frustrations that we felt like it wasn't going to get produced, right? And that it was too dangerous, that it was too much itself to get on stage. But we had a passion for the show, and seeing it on a stage like Playwrights Horizons with Page 73, but also to see audiences of all different walks of life come to the show and find a thread of the humanity and the human existence that they could hold on to and be moved by and be challenged by, but also let that challenge draw them further into the piece. That was rewarding, right?
Yeah, that was like the best part.
For sure. I mean, Raja and I had like a pact on day one that we were like, we just can't fuck this up, right? You know, like we care so deeply about Michael, we care so deeply about the project. We just constantly look to each other and we're like, are we fucking this up, or is this okay? Right? Because we felt like, and you know, I feel some shred of that responsibility to every project that I work on, but it felt like deeply in every single bit of my body and my DNA that I would never forgive myself if we fumbled this one. And so I think we collectively shared a breath of like relief after the first preview, where we're like, okay, something is happening here, something is in the alchemy, something is in the DNA, and then just continued to kind of make it as strong as it possibly could be. So seeing those audiences respond to the show and respond to Michael has been the greatest highlight of my career.
Yeah. Well, also, and for you and for Raja, you know, because all the characters are thoughts inside of Usher, watching how you staged it with them seamlessly moving through his life and morphing into not just a thought, but a real fleshed out person, from the doctor, even though it's this hilarious fucking, you know, scene, and the person on the subway, to just coming back into being thoughts. And then you can, my friends at home, you can see We Want to Know, I believe that's what it's called. Yeah, I don't want to fuck it up.
Yeah, that's right.
You can watch it on YouTube, and it's so fun, where all the thoughts are being Usher's mother, and it's very powerful. Especially because you have to get the album. It's perfect. And when you get to periodically, oh my fucking God. If you're a musical theater nerd like I am, you're going to listen to it on repeat for 97 years and then perform it in your living room for your cats. And they're going to be like, this is racially insensitive. And you're gonna be like, it is. But I'm adopted, so I can't tell you if I'm not a little bit. So maybe you're being insensitive. Anyway. Raja, what about for you?
You know, I think that for me, what sits with me is really the cast. I felt that I really wanted to and needed to, and my allegiance needed to be with the ensemble from the day that I met them, and feeling like I needed to be both a conduit from Stephen and Michael and the world through them and myself through them. And I think I had a practice of trying to be as queer and as Black as possible, and with them and in front of them and to them, so as that's what they could be on stage, and actually get to know them who they are, so as that I can turn up the volume of that on stage, so that it is imperceptible what is between staging and choreography and their Blackness and queerness. And that, I think, turned into like really, really beautiful friendships, learning more about Michael and getting to know Michael more, learning more about Stephen and getting to know Stephen more, and catching up with their process of making this show, and then connecting that with the different processes that some of the cast members have gone through. Like, just a total allegiance to the I think is really what hits home for me for making it worthwhile, and being able to offer them something that could turn them onto their 100%ness. Is when I see the audience and feel that the audience connects, I feel like it's because everyone can see some part of themselves through the ensemble. And I certainly feel that way as well.
Yeah.
And so that became my.
Yeah, we wanted the show to be a celebration of every single body that's on that stage, right? We started this process with the great gift of loving our cast and knowing them fairly well from the first day of rehearsal. And so that was definitely, I think, at the center of all of our processes, is wanting to make sure that everybody was seen in the fullest way that we could possibly showcase them on that stage.
It was really remarkable. And with Elle Morgan, and I don't feel like I'm talking out of place here. Elle Morgan is a openly trans actress, and it is the first time I've seen a show where someone who is trans is just a woman. It's not a trans woman, she is a woman, being anything, being everything. And that to me is fucking theater. And that, to me, theater is so important in the sense of when you take the subject and you move it forward. Like Caroline or Change did that to me back in 2000 whatever. And, no offense to Avenue Q, which I loved, but I was like, you did not take the art form and move it to a new level. Like Tony Kushner and Janine Tesori did. And I feel like with A Strange Loop, you really took the art form and moved it to a new position. And you can tell that, awards are lovely, and I know that they don't tuck us in at night, but my awards are the only thing that are keeping me going these days. You have all these nominations, which is so exciting. I wrote them down. Roger, you have an Outer Critics nom and a Lucille Lortel nomination. I'm so happy for you.
I didn't actually think it would mean anything, and I didn't care. But I will say, I think the thing that really stands out for me is being with the list of people who were there. Like, I really respect Camille. Camille Brown, I just think is wonderful. I love Sonia. I love Travis. So being in a list with these people who are doing work that I feel is just different and on another level than what I do, feels exciting. That perhaps there are a group of people who are seeing what I feel like is my very nuanced work in the same light as their work.
Yeah.
Really.
And Stephen, the Lucille Lortel, the Drama Desk, the Outer Critics nominations. What? Are you single? What? I like glasses too. I have a hat somewhere. What?
I know. I'm in this hat constantly because I'm terrified of what's happening underneath it.
Hey, same here. Same.
Yeah, it's been a really, I think it feels especially beautiful given what we're going through right now, to feel some sense of being connected to our community, which we're missing so dearly, right? That has been a really affirming thing for me, and I felt certainly celebrating with Michael, his Pulitzer has been.
Oh, we're getting there, yeah.
I know we're getting there, but that has been the highlight of this of the past 2 months for me, right? That has made me feel more alive and more connected to my community, which I'm missing terribly than I have felt in a long, long, long time. So I'm grateful for that right now. And I'm also grateful for the season that Off-Broadway had in terms of new musical theater, to be recognized with all that's happening off-Broadway. That's really representing a shift and a kind of united sort of pushing at the DNA of what makes a musical, right? It feels exciting to be amidst all these other artists that are really pushing at the form, I'm grateful to be part of the recognition of that kind of, I think, momentous year.
Fuck yeah. And fuck yeah about Off-Broadway. You know, like, I've heard so many producers go like, oh, there's no money off Broadway. And you know what? Yeah, that's true. But, you know, this is where we create and this is where we can take risks. And it really does pay off. And it's so important.
For sure.
And now, Michael, I know that this was a tough award season for you. I know people just fucking did not respond to you, except the Lucille Lortel, the Drama Desk, and the Outer Critics, and then the Pulitzer, the fucking Pulitzer, and you know,
and the Drama Critics Circle as well.
Forgive me, Pat. Forgive this lonely Jewish man in Queens.
Wow.
So, I mean, just humor me. What is it like? Like, how does it go down? Do you know that you're even nominated? Do they show up like seamless? Do they just go, oh, hey, guess what? You have a Pulitzer.
So the only thing with the Pulitzer that I knew was that Players Horizons had like submitted it for consideration like months ago. But beyond that, like, it just goes into a void, and there's nothing you can do or to influence it or anything. I believe that it's after the show is closed. So unless the people who judged it or whatever happened to see it, they wouldn't have seen it, so they're primarily just going off of like reading it and listening to it. If there's
I wish all awards were like that somehow.
Right. And so then I knew that the announcement was coming. They were going to announce whoever won it. And I thought, like, at best, I would get shortlisted, maybe. But I thought there was no way. I was like, there's just absolutely, as well as the show did, you know, and the nice write-ups and all of that stuff. I was like, there's just no possible way that something of this sort of cultural cachet, significance, whatever you want to call it, was going to like pick my little black queer musical and like give it like this award. And so I was actually on the phone with Brandon Jacobs Jenkins, who was just distracting me from watching the announcement. And we were talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta, which he doesn't watch. But he wanted to know why I watched it. So I was in the middle of explaining that to him when who unbeknownst to me, was watching the announcement. And he told me that I won it.
What did you do?
I was like, what? And he was like, you won the Pulitzer. And then that's in that moment, my phone began like crazily buzzing, and like it was just like I never had that experience ever of like that many people texting me
when your phone actually like melts. It just starts fucking melting.
Yeah, so it was like that, and people were calling. It was just like a lot going on, like all at once.
Oh my gosh! Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I want to know, like, what happens now? Like, do you start shitting unicorns? Do you do all dreams come true? Is it like, do you stop crying?
Well, I think I got my crying done like early on. So no more tears for me, hopefully. But okay, good. But I always like to try to bring it down to earth for people, because it's like on Monday, I'm like, I win the Pulitzer, but then on Tuesday, I'm fighting with my landlord. So like, it's always, for me, it's always, Like it's always like that sort of thing, you know, because I don't have gas in my building right now, and I haven't had it for a year. So like I have heat, but I don't have a working stove. And so I've been dependent upon a hot plate for almost a year.
Oof.
And so it took a global pandemic for me to put my foot down and say, hey, landlord, I'm not giving you any more money until you make Con Edison come to this building and turn our gas on.
Fix it.
Because at this point, I now have to rely on this hot plate, whereas before, I was just eating out all the time.
Yeah.
I did not tell him that I won a Pulitzer, but like
You
just
should
to get.
You should have.
Well, he probably would have just been like, "What is that?" Which is exactly what my mother said.
And then no.
Well, but then he picked up very quickly, and now she's like telling everyone in the entire universe about her child. But like that, it's like feast and famine, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
But you should
That's
also
real.
you should wear it on a necklace.
Oh yeah, that would be, or like maybe I should get a tramp stamp.
Yeah.
Necklace.
You could also make it into a stamp.
or a face tattoo.
Maybe a hat.
A hat.
A
Does
hat.
anyone still wear
A hat.
a hat?
If it's a fucking Pulitzer, they do.
Does anyone still wear a Pulitzer?
I have a friend who has their Tony Award in a bookshelf, like hidden behind things. And every time I come over, I take it out and I put it on the microwave and try to attach it to the door like a fucking mezuzah. And I'm like, no, everybody's going to kiss it.
I was saying that, like, if I ever won a Tony, I would probably keep the Tony in the closet, but the Pulitzer, I would make them kiss it like a mezuzah.
Exactly. I'm like, we're in an industry filled with monsters who usually always hate everything that we do. So on the miracle of Hanukkah, when they happen to like us, I'm going to make them fucking kiss it. My Lyft driver, too, COVID or not, kiss it.
It's a miracle of Judaism.
Oh my God, we could do a 4-person falsettos. Raja, your tattoos, I'm living, I'm liking.
So they're so like visual on this on your screen. They're like, I feel like I'm seeing them for the first time. I'm like, what's happening to me? I'm like, I don't
you're
have
gypsy. You're like, I'm a pretty girl. You're like gypsy. I'm a pretty girl, mama.
Does this make Stephen Herbie or Rose?
They're everywhere.
I think that maybe Stephen is like June.
Kuhn?
June. Dainty
June. I was like,
June.
Judy Kuhn?
No, we love Judy Kuhn.
Yeah, but like
We do.
Judy Kuhn as June.
Yeah.
It's good casting.
That was the butchest face I've ever seen you make, Stephen.
Was the what?
Butchest face. You're like this.
I'm so butch.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Listen, no homo or anything, but my wife has the vid and she's in quarantine, and I've got $500 to Venmo someone. Now,
Careful. Very
listen, I can't further anyone's career here, so don't try to me too anything here. I can't do anything for you. Now, listen, Woolly Mammoth, I'm so fucking excited. Tell me, like, you're bringing it down there to develop it further and to show it to the world and to that incredible community in DC. Tell me a little bit about this journey. I know everything's sort of on pause right now, but I know that the world is going to unpause, and yes, it will. My lovely people at home.
And yes, it will. That's a promise. Is that a promise?
Yes, it fucking will, Raja. I'm looking right at you. Yes, it fucking will. And I'm going to join your dance company. I'm a dancer. Not really. I'm a mover who marks, but it looks good.
It's a dance, theater, and media company, so there is a place for everybody.
Fan-fucking-tastic. You're going to love me. I'm going to be your Norma Desmond. It's going to be great. So tell me, what brought you down to the Woolly Mammoth? What drew you down there?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like the strange loopiness of it all because the director who I was initially working on this musical with way back in the day was Maria Goyanes, who is the artistic director of the Woolly Mammoth. And so he, like, at that point in development, she had gotten like very busy because she had gotten promoted while she was working at the Public Theater. And so I ended up having to part ways with her. But like, it feels really right, exactly. And so like so it feels really nice that like someone who had a really early hand in helping develop the piece is then able to give us like this sort of next step with the piece to continue to support it and to continue tinkering with things that we were doing during the process. And that just sort of came somewhat naturally, you know, as our producer, the wonderful Barbara Whitman.
Barbara Whitman, I love you, Barbara Whitman.
We love her.
She, she was like, wanting to help us continue to do. Oh yes, we light a candle. We will light a candle.
What are you saying?
Barbara Whitman.
I love her.
Yeah, like she, has ambitions for the piece, and going to the Woolly Mammoth seemed like a great next step in sort of furthering those ambitions.
I think it's the perfect next step.
It's a really beautiful space. I'm excited to go there.
It also gives me a lot of hope.
Me too.
There are things that I am looking forward to. And one of those things is traveling. One of those things is theater. And one of those things is seeing my community and my friends and family. Some of them. Just kidding. Keep me in your wheels.
Very,
very few. Just kidding. Keep me in your wheels. Haha.
Yeah.
But I cannot fucking wait to go down to DC and to go see the show and experience it and to see what you've done with it, to see what stayed the same, to see how it's grown, to see how you've all developed a new loop for it. And, I one thing that I love about your show is that, I don't come from the school of like, the show is frozen. I mean, yes, I get it. The show is fucking frozen. That's great. But I love watching art evolve. I think everybody's character should keep growing until they leave the show or until the show, closes. And your show is the perfect example of how that happens. And the three of you remind me of why the fuck I moved out of my cowtown to come to New York. You remind me that I want to be better as an artist and why I'm always going to take classes and I'm always going to challenge myself. And also to not take it all so fucking seriously. It's important to laugh. Totally. And as we're learning in times like these, laughing matters a lot. So I thank you all so much for coming on my silly show. What you've done for me and what you've done for so many is truly spectacular. And I will always have an enormous place in my heart for all of you. Whenever I see you on 9th Avenue, I might geek out a little bit, or if I ever have to audition for you, I might be that boo because I'm a weird auditioner. I'll be like, oh my fucking God, hey, remember this? And then like fucking Tara Rubin will be like, no, we didn't call him in. And then he'll be like, it's fine, Tara, it's fucking fine. Don't worry, it's fine. But yeah.
I can't wait for that.
Me fucking
I
too.
literally can't wait.
It's gonna fucking happen.
I will live for your 16 bars.
It's just ho ha ho ho sail away, ho ha ho ho sail.
You're hired. You're totally
Can I come back and dance? No. Oh, please. Raja, you froze. What did you say, babe?
I said, can you do a pirouette?
I can do 1, maybe 1.5, but not 2. I'm a mover who marks.
That's what our entire cast said on the first day of rehearsal, that I can't do 2 pirouettes.
No,
And
not
Raja
8
got
shows a week.
Raja got double turns out of all of them.
He did.
Well, Raja's a monster. I'm like, you want me to do that?
But they can do them. They can do them.
They can, but I live in Queens. I have to go to Queens 8 times a day too. You want me to do what? My dressing room's on the 16th fucking floor. Thank you all for just bringing me a lot of love and a lot of hope, and the world a lot of love and a lot of hope. And you make art. You are the new Sondheims. You are the new Harold Prince, and everyone. You are the new creators, and it just makes me fall in love with theater all over again. And friends at home, if you have not downloaded A Strange Loop, I will buy it for you. What the fuck? I will buy it for you. Jesus Christ. It's not that hard. Just fucking email the show. It's that good. And also, we talk a lot about what we're doing and what we're creating and blah, blah, blah. If you wake up and you feel sad, you're nailing it. If you wake up and you feel like writing something, you're nailing it. If you wake up and you want to work out, you're nailing it. If you wake up and you want to fucking eat a fucking pint of ice cream and cry into a cat, you're nailing it.
Amen.
Yes, ma'am.
This
Yes,
is all crazy, and but you're nailing it. So remember that. Thank you for tuning in to Josh Swallow's Broadway Live. Thank you, Raja. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Michael. Thank you to your cast. Thank you, Barbara Whitman. Thank you to Playwrights Horizon, and thank you,
873.
873.
Yes,
Rona Siddiqui, our music director. Charlie Rose, our orchestrator. Montana Levy Blanco, our costumer.
Keep going.
Cookie Jordan, our hair and makeup person.
Yes. Keep going.
Aaron Albrecht, our stage manager. John Moore, our assistant stage manager. Carolina Aquino, the ticketing goddess, who dealt with all the annoying ass ticket requests. Carol Fishman, the general manager. Jenna Reddy, the assistant general manager. Tim Sanford, the artistic director. I know I'm forgetting people. Elijah Caldwell, who was our standby for Usher, who learned the part in literally 2 minutes, so many people to thank for everything the show has been and will be.
Indeed.
Fuck, I love that. You're making me cry. And thanks to all the ushers and all the security people and all the janitors and all that too. Fucking thank you, everyone.
Every single one.
And thank you for fucking loving shows and loving Broadway and loving regional theaters. Check out your fucking regional theaters. Check out Woolly Mammoth. Check out Arden in Philly. Check out all of them. There's a lot of great stuff happening online just for you. And most of it is pretty free too. But if you can, donate. All right. Much love to you three and much love to you all. We'll see you after Memorial Day. All right. Bye.